Greetings, everyone. In the last two videos, we've spoken about the condition of domestic workers or migrant domestic workers in South Africa. We spoke about their condition at the workplace, uh, in as far as the documentation is concerned. Before 1994, we did outline the documents that they were using and the challenges that they were going through. We then looked into post 1994. We did say that we are assisting students from universities who are doing a research on migration, and we hope that these videos are assisting them. Uh, um, One comrade got back to me thanking us for recording these videos, saying that she was to address a meeting of the United Nations in respect to the condition of migrant workers in South Africa, the challenges that they face, because people are facing difficulties in moving to other visas, those that are on Zimbabwe exemption permits, and they were said that there are quite a number of them that are from Zimbabwe, are from Lesotho, are from Mozambique, and other SADC countries that work, or beyond the SADC region, that work as domestic workers without any documents, and they face numerous challenges. In this video, we are looking into post 2002, the condition of domestic workers. The reason we are looking into post 2002 is that the asylum documents for Zimbabweans were issued from May 2002. You will recall that when political violence escalated in Zimbabwe in 2000, following the chaotic land reform and, of course, the formation of the movement for democratic change in Zimbabwe, members of the opposition in Zimbabwe, of the MDC and the civil society, there to seek refuge in South Africa. But at the time, South Africa was not granting asylum documents to Zimbabweans on the basis that the UN Charter on Refugees was saying that you grant a refugee status to someone who's fleeing conflict. And the argument by the South African government then was that there was no war in Zimbabwe, hence people were not being granted such document, Section 22. But in May 2002, Bill Maseke, who was the Director General in the Department of Home Affairs, now is ambassador in Algeria, after our meetings approved that Zimbabweans were victims of or Zimbabweans were running away from conflict, political victims could seek protection of the South African state, thereby being issued with an asylum document. In the beginning, that was in May, the office of the refugee center office was in Braamfontein. The office of the MDC would drop a list of its members who were victims, and also those of civil society who had come to South Africa, and assisted them to acquire the asylum documents, which is Section 22 document. Then this grew as more people were then going to apply for asylum documents. In Rosettenville, the center was also opened in Rosettenville, opened in Crown Mines as well. It was no longer the list that the MDC and its partners was submitting, but every Zimbabwean who felt that they needed an asylum document, they would go and apply. So the asylum document allowed one to work, to do business or conduct business, and to study. So a number of Zimbabwean domestic workers utilized or took advantage of this system, the new system of asylum documentation, and they applied for the purposes of presenting that to their employers that indeed they are legal in South Africa, and so that whenever they were walking in the streets or going to work, those that do not stay at the workplace, they are in taxis, when they get to a roadblock, they will produce an asylum document so that they will not be arrested. So a number of domestic workers from 2002 until 2010 were using an asylum documents, including those that we spoke to earlier on that acquired the South African identity documents. Some will put their identity documents at home under the pillow or in the wardrobe, but apply for an asylum document which they will produce whenever they can come across police officers or immigration officials. Remember that in the previous video we said the use of the South African ID attracted bribery or abuse by the police, because if they notice that even though you are carrying an authentic ID, but you cannot identify where you come from, or in or in any language, any part, as police will require you to do so, you will be subjected to threats of arrest and you end up paying a bribe. So then the use of an asylum document meant that people would bypass that and simply present an asylum document. So for those that are doing research on the condition of the domestic migrant workers, is that between 2002 and 2010, the majority of the domestic workers were using asylum documents. But of course, the challenges that they then experienced is that the asylum document will not allow you to go back to your country of origin. If you are an holder of Section 22 document, when you go back to your country of origin, you forfeit your right to apply or to claim protection by the South African state on the basis that you are running away from conflict. So most people were going to Zimbabwe. When they were caught at the border, they would be found in possession of the asylum documents. Some would be using South African passports to travel. So you'll find someone is traveling using a South African passport. At the same time, in their pockets, on their handbag, they have an asylum documents, which presented challenges because they are essentially saying you are a South African running away from conflict because you have access to a South African passport, but you are going to a country where you are saying you are running away from conflict. So these were some of the challenges that people then had to deal with. In the next video, then speak about the amnesty of 2010. So but in the main, because domestic workers, migrant domestic workers were using asylum documents, there were at least there was a relief in terms of them being arrested by the police, being forced to pay bribes because they had legal documents which the police could not challenge. Of course, the other challenge which then people faced is that as the queues grew at the refugee center, corruption became order of the day. You then had people that were not working at the refugee center, that were then conniving with officials at the refugee center. They will be giving people fake asylum documents because someone will go there maybe on a Tuesday to queue until the close of business you were not able to get the document. You go again maybe on a Thursday, same thing, because of long queue. So is this then opened up to issues of corruption, and the other people ended up getting fake asylum documents. But in the main, the majority that applied were issued with these asylum documents, which they were using at the workplace. But of course, as we noted in other previous video, that very few migrant workers then joined the trade unions for them to engage in the workers' struggle with other workers. What they wanted was for them to be legal, but they did not then challenge their employers as they did under when they were holders of these special permits, which we'll speak to in the next video. They did not join trade unions. They could not take when they were to CCA. They could not rotation that they were going through. And the challenge, of course, was that the asylum document was not a permanent document. People were required every 3 months or 6 months to go and renew the document, to stamp the document. So that on its own presented challenges. But if you have questions, please feel free to write in the comment section. We will indeed check and assist you if you need more information on this. Otherwise, please like this video, circulate, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and have a great day. Goodbye.